Today's MLB recap, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge went back-to-back yesterday, and a lot of fans are asking the question, is this the greatest duo that we've ever seen in the history of baseball? Alex Bregman is going to be a free agent after this season, and he just hit the longest home run of his entire career. Atlanta, they jumped out to a fat lead versus the Rockies, but like the Rockies may or may not have made a crazy comeback. Randy Arozarena, he saw his life flash before his eyes on a web gem down in Seattle, and we had some controversy in the Marlins and Padres game. Ha-Seong Kim, he tied it, then it wasn't tied. We'll talk about that in a second. Don't miss it. If you're brand new to the channel, this is a series called MLB Recap. We recap every game, every single day, so hit that subscribe button. And don't forget that recap is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets, and my code Fuzzy on Underdog Fantasy will get brand new users a $250 bonus cash credit and a free pick'em on me, but only if you use my code. Will Smith is finally breaking out. He was one of the worst hitters in baseball to begin the second half, and now he has 4 RBIs his last 3 games. Ahmed Rosario, I still can't believe I'm seeing this guy in a Dodger uniform again. He brought home Will, and an inning later, Teoscar Hernandez, he did his thing. His 2-run double makes it 4-zip for Tyler Glasnow. Enter the 2013 NL MVP. It's been 11 years since McCutchen won an MVP. He tied it with 2 swings. Andy Pages almost robbed the first one, and then the second home run went the exact same distance. It's funny how baseball dimensions work. They both went 408 feet, but the first one was almost robbed, and the second one was like 8 rows back. Again, both 408 feet. Teoscar, what was that route, buddy? A bad read in the 10th inning allows Brian Reynolds to get an RBI flare. Pittsburgh, they get their first lead of the night when Enrique, he tied it. He pulled a double. David Bednar, he probably should not be out there in situations like this because the strikeouts are down, the walks and the hits are up, making this next clip inevitable. Teoscar Hernandez, he made up for that play in left field. The Dodgers have won 3 games in a row. The Pirates have lost 7 games in a row. Speaking of 7, the Rangers scored 7, but was it enough to beat Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and the Bronx Bombers? Juan powered up for a long home run in the 3rd, his 29th of the season, and I'm going to keep it real. I have no idea how Giancarlo Stanton did this, but then again, he's Giancarlo Stanton. That was a bullet 3-run home run on a ball 3 inches off the ground, his 20th of the season, his 13th season with 20 or more home runs. Seager, he had an RBI double, and Jazz Chisholm Jr., his error made things a lot more interesting. That's the inexperience of Jazz at third base. That is Volpe's ball 100%. 2 scored on the air, by the way. Good thing the Yankees have maybe the greatest duo ever assembled in the history of baseball. Juan Soto, he socked his 30th home run, and as a fan, this will never get old. Soto and Judge make it back-to-back home runs. Judge has 42 home runs. He also has 3 base hits in 2 of his last 3 games, so he's hitting .328 on the season. Now, unfortunately, Brian Cashman's new bullpen pieces have stunk it up. Mark Leiter Jr., he gave up 2 tanks to Nathaniel Lowe and Carson Kelly. Kelly's was a 2-run home run, and now Clay Holmes is imploding. Adolis Garcia with the RBI bloop. The tying run is now 90 feet away. Clay has 44 pitches, but also he now has 25 saves. I'm not saying that the Yankees have a closer issue because he got the job done, but they might have a closer issue. So that was New York's 70th win, though, their second team in baseball behind the Orioles to that big 7-0 number. Tony Taters, another towering home run. Anthony Santander now has 35 home runs. He's tied for second in baseball with Marcell Ozuna and Shohei Ohtani. Albert Suarez, he's been a lifesaver this year. He came out of nowhere. He almost goes 7 scoreless with 5 strikeouts. He's genuinely saved the Orioles starting pitching staff this year, but as soon as he left, Cionel Perez and Craig Kimbrell, they completely ruined Albert's beauty, and it all started with a Jose Caballero double, and Dylan Carlson, he stayed hot. Carlson placed it perfectly, and Jose, he's around for Tampa Bay's first run. In steps Kimbrell, who I already kind of inferred that he was going to botch this. He walked Brandon Lau, then walked Morel on 4 pitches. Both runners then took off. It's a double steal. They had to walk Josh Lowe for the force out. Now, they got an out, but they also lost the lead at the same time. Curtis Mead, the rookie, his sac fly basically seals Baltimore's fate. Or did it? Mullins, he's on base. He extends the 9th inning with a 2-out single. He can wreck some Pete Fairbanks. He shut it down. 3 strikeouts in the final frame. He has 23 saves. His strikeouts have plummeted, so that's a good sign for Pete. The Yankees and the Orioles are now 70 and 49, but because Baltimore has a winning record against the Yankees this year, the Yankees, if they stay tied, would have to be a wild card team. Keep that in mind. We have some other teams battling for first place. We have the Astros and the Mariners, but before we talk about those 2 teams duking it out, let's talk about that controversial ending in the Padres and Marlins game. The Marlins jumped Dylan Cease early, which was quite surprising because Dylan Cease has been on a tear. Jonah Bride, his slow roller, did the job. Xavier Edwards, he scores, and then Otto Lopez, he drove in a second second run after that. Luis Ariz, he botched that's not even really a bad throw. Like, it's not a perfect throw, but if you're a big league first baseman, there's no shot you should ever miss that. Jake Berger with another double-double combo to go. He went from 10 home runs to 22 home runs in the blink of an eye. Now, I'm going to skip a bunch of RBI groundouts, and the Padres scored like 3 or 4 runs on those. David Peralta, here we go, an actual non-RBI groundout. He makes it a 1-run game on the double. Jackson Merrill, of course, he scored because he's always on base in the 7th, 8th, or 9th innings. He's just really clutch. Jesus Sanchez, he homers after Jake's 3rd hit of the day, and it's back to a 1-run game. Donnie Barrels caught a barrel. Donovan Solano, as soon as he made contact, he tossed the bat. He knew it was gone. He's batting .315 with the 125 OPS plus. Oh my, Ha-Seong Kim, he cranked one. It's back. And wait, is it gone? I need a replay. So they called it a home run at first. Then they reversed it to a double. And here's what the rule states. If a ball hits the fielder or the wall and then bounces over, if it doesn't just bounce off the wall and go over, it's a double. So it went from a tie game to Ha-Seong Kim getting a double. Then Luis Campusano, he chased another pitch at his eyeballs. Ball game. So again, if it bounced at the wall and then went over, you're fine. But if it hits the wall, hits the fielder, and then goes out, yeah, it's a double. The Padres had regained the top wildcard spot with the W, and the Diamondbacks lost the day before, but the inverse happened in this recap. San Diego, they lost. Arizona, they won, and won by a lot. Like, at least Alec Bohm reminded us that he's fantastic with runners on. He owns an MLB best 43 doubles. He's on pace for almost 60. So the Phillies got 2, and then the Diamondbacks got 9 unanswered runs. You have Randall Grichuk scoring Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Lourdes scored a second time. This time, Gino, he knocked him home, and look who it is again. The rookie Del Castillo, a 2-run knock. He's the first rookie catcher in the National League, I'm talking about ever, to have 7 base hits their first 3 games. And we used to call a guy in the Diamondbacks, Jake Lamb, Rake Lamb. I think it's time to move on. Jake McCarthy, nah, this is Rake McCarthy. He clears the bases, his 7th triple already. He's batting .303 with the 131 OPS plus. Kevin Newman, he drove in 2 as well. And that was right before Corbin Carroll made it 12 runs on the day with his 2nd home run in as many days. Is an .840 OPS since the 2nd week of June, and the Diamondbacks, they have the best record in baseball since the beginning of June. So the Diamondbacks and the Padres are now tied again for 2nd in the West, and they're both 3.5 games back of first place, but at 66 and 53, they're both still in the playoffs via the wild card. So before we talk about the NL wild card, the rest of it, because again, we have some shuffling of the 3rd wild card team, we're going to go back to the AL West because James Paxton, he had to leave really early after he had a capture, and like, you knew instantly, yep, that was his calf. And minus this play that kind of set the tone for the rest of the day for the Red Sox, Cedon, he's going to go get it whether he's at shortstop or in the outfield. He's so sick. Skipping to the 5th, like I said in the intro, this was Alex Bregman's longest home run ever as a big leaguer. 441 feet for a 3-run home run. Jordan, he treats pitchers at Fenway like actual toddlers and little leaguers. He's played 15 games in Fenway. He has 8 home runs and 20 RBIs as they go back to back. Jake Myers, he singled in another. And looky here, Bregman, he just missed another home run. They said, nah, we're not pitching to Jordan Alvarez. But then you got to pitch to Yainer Diaz. He's insane as well. The Astros lineup is so deep. Yainer hammered a 2-run double, and then Pena, check out this. Jeremy Pena had 10 home runs, 52 RBIs, and 13 stolen bases all of last year in 150 games. In 115 games this year, 10 home runs, 54 RBIs, 13 stolen bases, so he's been the same guy in 35 games fewer. I'm happy for him. Boston, they got a few on the board, but they lose 10-2. Hunter Brown struck out 9, by the way, so for the 2nd straight year, Houston sweeps the Red Sox in Fenway. The Astros, they've won 5 games in a row, and I believe the Red Sox have lost 4 or 5 in a row, and they're now 3 games back of a wild card spot. I'm sorry, Pesky, my editor. He's a Red Sox fan. I'm so sorry. Julio Rodriguez is back. J-Rod, his first game in 20 days, and Sebi dialed it up to 98 miles an hour. Julio is down hacking. Polanco is also hacking, but he made contact. Jorge Polanco now has 6 home runs over the last 3 weeks, and he's raised his OPS by 300 points. He went from like 500s to 800s over the last few weeks. Like, his OPS for the season is not 800, but over the last few weeks, you know what I'm saying. Oof, this next clip could have been really bad. Randy and Robles, they were both closing in. Robles, he just barely got out the way, and Randy, he makes the diving play. That could have been devastating. I have to sneeze. The power of editing, you guys did not have to hear that, but we're going to go from a web gem to a play that maybe should have been called an error. Randy, he gets credited with the RBI single. Now, the scorekeepers, perhaps they were home cooking. Like, that's not an easy play, but that is Francisco Lindor. It should have been out number 3. Instead, it's 4-0 Seattle, and Sevy's ERA was not happy with that being called an error because these might have been called, I don't know, unearned runs. Al Raleigh is just so good. Luis Castillo is also really good. He allowed 1 run the entire game. Jeff McNeil, he's unlocked the power swing. I do want to kind of tip my cap to him, but Castillo, he struck out 9 Mets over 6 innings. He's got a 2.2 ERA since early June, and that sinker changeup combination looks downright miserable to face. Cal, all this guy does is hit home runs. A 3-run home run for a second of the game, his 26th home run. He had 75 RBIs all last year. He already has 76 in 32 fewer games. The Mariners, they ran it up to 12 on a bases of a walk, then a hit by pitch to Randy Rosarena. The Mets have lost 3 games in a row. The Mariners have won 4 games in a row, so they're still tied with the Astros in the AL West. So apparently I'm the bad luck charm for Cleveland because I was really busy the last 2 days and I couldn't watch a single inning. What happened? Well, they snapped their 7-game losing streak and they are now winners of 2 in a row. I can't watch a game for the rest of the year, apparently. Bibee, he was fantastic. Yeah, he gave up a solo jack to Byron Buxton, but Byron, he's been insane all year. J-Ram, our sweet and affordable Prince, he now has 31 home runs, 97 RBIs, 25 stolen bases after 115 games. David Fry absolutely mashes lefties, and he's really fallen off since he was named an all-star, but 2 home runs this week, that is big time for him. Brian Rocchio, the rookie, a huge 2-out RBI single. Stephen Kwan, he swings a magic wand, so of course he can saw himself off and still get an RBI base hit. Will Brennan, they call him Chill Will. He drove in another run for Cleveland on a double. Yeah, he actually made it to second base, and like I said earlier, Buxton has been crazy this year. How did he pull that pitch out? He's got 16 home runs and a 140 OPS plus, along with the Gold Glove defense. He's not stealing as much. They're saying, please do not steal. He has a 3.5 F-WAR in just 89 games. Oh, God, bases loaded. Oh, book it. I already said that the Guardians have won 2 in a row. Emmanuel Clase bailed himself out. I don't know why I got kind of worried right there. The game's over. So with those back-to-back W's over the Twins, Cleveland, they're back up to a 3.5 game lead in first place. I don't even want to jinx anything. Let's just move on. All right, this is going to sound a little bit dramatic, but this game could be the season for the Reds. If they do get swept by the Brewers, they'll be 5.5 games back of a wild card. I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but we'll talk about it later. The Corbin Burns trade played a big role in the first few innings of this one. DL Hall, he's back. He struck out Jonathan India. The other piece of that trade, Joey Ortiz, he pummeled a 2-run home run, and DL Hall, he really tried his best, but the Cincinnati Reds, they got to him because Santiago Espinal, he's way too good versus lefties. Now, the Brewers did get bailed after the 2-run hit. Friedel, he ran into an out and that ended the rally, and I have no idea who's going to win this game. DL Hall, I know he gave up a few runs, but look at that pitch. It's very rare to see a changeup with vertical movement. Ellie, he strikes out swinging, and Tyler, he now has a new career high, his 15th home run. His previous was 13, but his 15th was another 2-out run versus DL Hall, and the kid was disgusting aside from the 3 runs. He struck out 9 over 4 2/3. He's 25 years old. He has plenty of time to keep on developing, and he's not going to take the L because Milwaukee, they tied it. Willie Adames, we thought it was going to be a sac fly. Same with Gary Sanchez. It dropped in for an RBI single. Noelvi Marte, he saved the game. What a play to rob his fellow third baseman. That was a beautiful play at third base. Steer, he's up, the bases loaded. The ball's carrying, and Jackson, he had a nice little recovery. He makes the play. With that final run, Cincinnati does actually take it. The Reds, they're hanging on for dear life. They're 4.5 games back in the NL wildcard, but the thing is, there are 5 teams ahead of them in the wild card, so a lot of teams are fighting for that final third spot. Some of those teams include the Giants and the Braves. We'll talk about the Giants' close game after this roller coaster Braves and Rockies game, and it was all Atlanta early on. Austin Riley, 445 feet. Travis d'Arnaud, 440 feet for a 2-run moon bomb. Jorge Soler, oh no, he's figuring it out. That is 3 games in a row, a huge 3-run laser beam in the 7th inning, and an even longer home run is next at bat. Soler now has 7 base hits in this series. 4 of those hits have been home runs. This game's a, well, I was about to say this game's a wrap, but we know, as the intro stated, the Rockies made a little comeback. Jake Cave, that was enough to pump up the crowd. It's 8-4. What is going on? Charlie Blackmon's 3rd hit of the game brought in 2 more, so it's 8-6. Ryan McMahon, it's 8-7. I thought that Arcia had actually caught it. He just misses it. If he had 1 more inch on him, pause, he was an inch taller. He makes that play. Oh no, this is going to score 2 standing. Brendan Rodgers, he gets the crowd rocking, full pun intended. There's no way the Rockies just pulled it out like a magician pulling out a rabbit. Victor Vodnik, the rookie, he ditched the 102 fastball for a nasty slider. He catches Darno guessing. That is his 8th save. The Rockies, they pull it off. They make the comeback and they win 9-8. That loss is huge for the San Francisco Giants. They can get within a half game. Let me repeat that. A half game of the Braves for the final wild card spot. Just unfortunately, the Tigers' bats came out swinging early. Matt Vierling, he's back. He had some back issues. He has 14 home runs. And Dylan Dingler now has one. He has one home run ever. That's his first career home run. But I feel like with the name Dylan Dingler, there's no way he doesn't hit 30 one day, even as a catcher. He hit 310 with 17 home runs in 71 AAA games this year, so he's got some serious pop in that bat. Bob Melvin, he wanted to have some faith in his rookie starter, which was fine with Matt Vierling, so Birdsong, he's left out there. Vierling, he laced another RBI extra base hit. Birdsong's out the game. Colt Keith, I mean, he's just flat out good. He can turn and burn on a 97 inside fastball off a tough lefty. That's crazy. Now, the Giants, they did make it close with RBI singles from Chapman and Encarnacion, but they really embarrassed themselves on the bases. Chapman, he ran into an out at home. Mark Hanna, he ran into an out at third base. Yeah, just not great. As Will Vesey picked up his first save of the season. That is a tough loss for the Giants, but they're still 7-3 over their last 10. This A's offense is so much fun to watch. Lawrence Butler, there he is doubling, and then he scores on a sick web gem from the Toronto Blue Jays. If you can't sense my sarcasm, Spencer Horwitz with the no-look pass on. I mean, just eat it, bro. Don't throw that. JJ, have yourself a day. JJ Bleday has 14 home runs, and he's also tied with Pete Alonso and Bryce Harper in terms of extra base hits. He's got 51 extra base hits already. Another 2-run bomb for the A's. Zach Geloff is having himself a breakout week. He's batting like .420 over his last 5 games. Butler had a big game as well. He singled in 1, and later in the 4th, he stole a bag, his 10th, and he's able to score easy on another scorcher from JJ Bleday. So it's 7-0. Varsho, look at this. He tagged his 14th home run. I really need him to go 20-20 because he also has like 25 DRS already, which is insane. And Brent Rooker, he is stealing that run right back with another RBI extra base hit. I thought that was his 30th home run, but it's another RBI double. Now we have a first. Luis De Los Santos, he broke the Toronto shutout with his first 2 career RBIs. Springer, he singled to left for 2 more. Out of nowhere, it's now 8-4. Mason said, enough of that. It's Miller time. A 1-2-3 9th inning on just 8 pitches. He's so close to getting his ERA back under 2. That is win number 50 for the A's. Why is that important? They had 50 wins all of last year. John Fisher, he's been handed a young and talented lineup, and let's see what he does on the pitching side of things. It's probably nothing. The last game of the day before we show all of the awesome web gems from yesterday. The Halos, they got 2 runs early off of the Nationals without really doing too much because Mackenzie Gore, he was all over the place. He walks Brandon Drury. Mickey Moniak, I'll tip my cap. That's a tough base hit. And that's rough. That's really, really rough. Luis Tana, who they just got in the Lane Thomas trade, he had a walk-off a few days ago. He had to leave after taking a ball to the thumb, and it only got worse. Gore, he painted a fastball. It was called ball 4 instead of strike 2. Who knows what could have happened after that. Washington, they got a nice little double play, but again, Gore's command was all over the place. He had 6 walks in 4 innings. His final stat line was crazy. Listen to this. After Kevin Pillar doubled in 2, it's 5-0. Mackenzie's stat line was 5 base hits, 6 walks, but his ERA went down. He had 5 unearned runs. Every run that he allowed was unearned, so I mean, Washington, they kept the walk trend going. It was walk after walk after walk. Stefanik, he's handed a free RBI with a walk in the 7th. They walked 13 Angels hitters. That is the most by a Nationals pitching staff in quite some time. Angels fans, if I botched this, I'm so sorry. Rookie Jack Kowanowicz? I don't know how to say. I'm really sorry if I botched that. Jack Kokonowitz. I said that wrong, I know for a fact, but he went 7 scoreless on 72 pitches. Jacob Young, he somehow ruined the shutout with a rare home run, and here comes the Nationals. Luis Garcia Jr., he singled him. Nazem Nunez. Alex Call, he reached on an infield single. Ben Joyce is imploding just like Clay Holmes, and Garcia Jr., he was walked by Ben Joyce with the bases loaded. Is LA about to blow it? Nah, Ben Joyce, he locked, and he got Juan Yepes the ground out, and those were all of the games from yesterday. That does it for today's recap. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, do me a huge favor. Leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new. Your support means the world to me. You guys are a big blessing in my life. Enjoy the rest of your day, and check out the web gems.
Fly ball, left center field. Low angle into the wall. And he's there.
And fairly well hit right side. Literally booted from Stefanik over to Neto.
And that's down the line.
Harper will have something to say about that. Drives it deep the other way.
Pitch count.
That ball's whacked to right center field. Meadows and Baddoo, and Parker gets side.
He will, and he pops it up. Bart going back. It's going to be a tough play. The slide, and he.
Third base. That's Urshela up with the throw.
That's lifted into right, and it's caught.